Now, let me give you a couple of examples of this sense of destiny so that you will clearly understand. One is the example of a church, and another, the example of an organization. You may have heard of Pastor Rick Warren and his famous Saddleback Church in Southern California in the United States. Rick Warren's church is no ordinary church. It's a church that's impacting his community and in some ways impacting the world for Christ. But how did that happen? It happened because Pastor Rick cast a captivating vision for his people, one that came from God. He got pregnant with a vision, and he communicated that through his preaching and teaching. In fact, in his first meeting with his very small congregation at that time, here's what he said. He said, "Our church one day will be a place where hurting people can find love and acceptance." He said, "We will evangelize tens of thousands of people." He said, "One day we will have a congregation of at least 20,000 members." He said, "We will disciple thousands of people in small groups. We will have a Bible college. We will equip and release believers in ministry." In fact, he said, "One day our church will send out hundreds of missionaries." He said, "One day we will have a church building that can accommodate 20,000 people." Do you know that all of that has happened now? How did it happen? It happened because he communicated that vision from the very beginning to his people. Now, in the beginning, I'm sure no one believed him. His few members probably said, "Oh, that's just Pastor Rick. He's just preaching. He doesn't really mean that." But he really did mean that. And he kept preaching and teaching until they believed, until it impacted their lives. Now, a couple of years ago, I was in Brazil, in the capital city of Sao Paulo. I was training a group of pastors, but as we traveled around, I kept noticing all of these different church buildings that had the same sign. They said, "Congregação Cristo no Brasil." I saw them everywhere. And so I started asking someone about this. What is it with this organization? Why am I seeing so many of these church buildings? Do you know what I discovered? This movement has 18,000 congregations. They have 2.6 million members, and they are baptizing 100,000 people per year. Hello? Did you hear what I said? They are baptizing 100,000 per year. Now, how is that happening? How does someone have 18,000 congregations and 2.6 million members? And the answer is sense of destiny. See, what happened with this leader was that he got pregnant with a vision. He knew that God had called him to do something powerful, and he communicated that to his pastors and to his churches, and now they are impacting all of Brazil. Please understand this. World changers have a big vision. And I want you to understand something very important. Once again, I want you to look me in the eye. And I want to tell you that your vision is too small. That's right. What you understand right now that God wants to do through you is too small. God is a big God. God has some big things in store for you. If you're going to be a world changer, you've got to have a big vision. Well, if you're perceptive, you may ask me, okay, if my vision is too small, how will I know when it's big enough? That's a good question, and I want to give you a good answer. You'll know that it is big enough when you are willing to die for it. That's right. When you are willing to pay any price even if it costs your life, to fulfill what God has called you to do. Then, and only then, will you have a vision that's big enough. See, world changers have a vision that they are willing to die for.